Welcome to Ping 24 Updates, where you get the most important news and stories from around the world every day. Subscribe my channel and click the bell icon to stay informed. Breaking news, Manila, Philippines. But this isn't the headline you'll see splashed across international news or travel magazines. This is a story that unfolds quietly, in the margins, in the spaces between the stories you think you know. The air here is thick, not just with diesel fumes and the aroma of sizzling street food, but with anticipation, with the promise of rain that hangs heavy over the city. Every breath is a mix of flavors and grit, a reminder that Manila is alive in ways that defy easy description. Traffic is a living, breathing organism, jeepneys painted in wild colors, horns blaring in a constant symphony, vendors weaving through the chaos, their voices rising above the din. It's overwhelming, exhilarating, and utterly unique. This isn't the glossy travelogue you see on TV, with curated shots of white sand beaches and luxury resorts. This is the real Manila, raw, unfiltered, and unapologetically itself. I arrived expecting poverty and danger, bracing myself for the worst. The headlines had warned me, painting a picture of hardship and struggle. But what I found shattered every preconception. Instead of fear, I found laughter echoing through narrow alleyways. Instead of hostility, I was met with open arms and genuine smiles. The resilience here isn't just survival, it's a celebration of life, no matter the circumstances. This isn't about beaches or resorts or the postcard-perfect images that lure tourists. It's about the heartbeat of a city that pulses with stories, with struggle, with hope. It's about the heart of a nation that beats with its own rhythm, a rhythm found in laughter shared over simple meals, in music that spills into the streets, in traditions passed down through generations. For months, I'd been drifting through Asia, a spectator behind glass, collecting experiences like souvenirs. I watched, I observed, but I never truly belonged. The Philippines wasn't even on my itinerary, it was a blank spot on my map, a country I'd overlooked, dismissed as just another stop along the way. But a last-minute detour brought me here, and that spontaneous decision changed everything. Sometimes the best journeys are the ones you never planned. This isn't a story of pity, but of respect. Here, wealth isn't measured in money, but in generosity, in community, in the willingness to share what little you have with a stranger. The Philippines didn't just welcome me, it broke me open. It taught me that true connection happens when you let your guard down, when you allow yourself to be vulnerable and changed. It challenged my cynicism, forced me to see with my heart instead of my eyes. In Manila, I learned to listen, not just to words, but to the stories written in every face, every gesture. Forget the travel guides. The real stories aren't written in books or blogs. They're whispered in the markets, sung in the streets, shared over a cup of coffee at dawn. This is the story of a misunderstood country, where people with little give everything, and where the greatest riches are found in kindness and community. This is where the real journey begins. Not with a plane ticket or a guidebook, but with an open heart and a willingness to see the world anew. My journey began in Japan, a country of precision. In Tokyo, millions move in silent, perfect choreography. Subway cars arrive to the second, salarymen march in unison. The culture is artful, intricate, and flawless. I ate ramen in spotless shops, every bowl a masterpiece. Kyoto's temples and gardens were stunning but felt like a museum. The politeness was a beautiful wall, admirable but distant. I admired the discipline but never felt a connection. Even the food, exquisite as it was, felt solitary. At Shibuya Crossing, I watched thousands flow past, flawless, impersonal. Japan is magnificent, a testament to discipline and shared purpose. But I was just another face in the crowd, an observer. I was searching for a conversation but found only a silent monologue. My heart remained untouched. From Japan's order, I plunged into Seoul's neon energy. K-pop, fashion, ambition, ancient palaces beside skyscrapers. The markets buzzed with life, people were direct, expressive, driven. At the DMZ, history's weight was real, but the city raced toward the future. South Korea was urgent, proud, and relentless. Then China, Beijing's scale was overwhelming, history everywhere. The Great Wall whispered of ambition, the Forbidden City dwarfed me. Interactions were transactional, focused, brisk. I felt small, a cog in a vast machine. China was immense and impressive, but its heart remained hidden. I left feeling I'd only scratched the surface. Thailand, the land of smiles. Bangkok was sensory overload. Smiles were everywhere, but often felt part of the tourist script. In Chiang Mai, rural kindness was real, but I was always the outsider. Thailand was beautiful and easy, but I never got past the facade. Vietnam was different. Hanoi's chaos, history, and resilience were palpable. The people were proud, direct, and tough, shaped by hardship. In the countryside, I found depth families sharing meals, laughter hard-won. Vietnam didn't smile to please, it demanded respect. I learned from their tenacity and spirit. The beauty was raw, the connection earned. I left with admiration for their unyielding strength. Here, authenticity was never for sale. Indonesia, an archipelago of staggering diversity. Bali was paradise, rice paddies, incense, spiritual rituals, but it felt curated, shaped by tourism, a beautiful bubble. In Komodo, the wildness was real. Dragons, fishermen, raw hospitality. Life was tough, but dignity and sharing prevailed. Indonesia was a mosaic, artists, survivors, 17,000 islands, too vast to grasp, always just out of reach. I saw beauty and contrast, but true connection eluded me. I was a visitor passing through. The real Indonesia lay beyond the yoga retreats and infinity pools. I left in awe of its scale and complexity, but the deep human connection I sought was still missing. I was about to find it in the most unexpected place. I landed in Manila, bracing for chaos and danger. I'd read the headlines, heard the warnings, and prepared myself for a city that would test my patience and my nerves. My expectations were set: crowded streets, relentless traffic, and a sense of unpredictability that would keep me on edge. The city hit me immediately. Humidity clung to my skin, the air thick with the scent of street food and exhaust. The noise was a constant hum, punctuated by laughter, honking horns, and a swirl of languages I couldn't quite place. It was overwhelming, but also strangely exhilarating, like stepping into a living, breathing organism that never truly sleeps. I was ready for scams, for hustlers lurking at every corner, but what I found instead were smiles, genuine, unguarded, and warm. It caught me off guard. I'd built up walls, expecting to be just another target, but the people here seemed to see right through them. These weren't the practiced, polite smiles reserved for tourists. They were heartfelt, welcoming, and disarming in a way I hadn't experienced before. It felt like the city itself was reaching out, inviting me to let my guard down, even if just a little. The security guard at the airport, the taxi driver waiting outside, the street vendor selling snacks, all offered warmth and kindness without expecting anything in return. My cynicism, built up from months of travel and transactional encounters, began to crack. My taxi driver, Rico, greeted me with a wide grin and spoke fluent English. He was proud of his city, eager to share its stories and secrets with a newcomer. As we drove through the bustling streets, he pointed out landmarks, explained local customs, and answered my endless questions with patience and humor. Rico became my impromptu guide, sharing tips on where to eat, what to see, and how to stay safe. Not because he expected a tip, but because he genuinely wanted me to enjoy his home. His pride in Manila was infectious, and for the first time in a long while, I felt like more than just a passing visitor. When I tried to tip him extra for his kindness, he politely refused, insisting that honesty and hospitality were simply part of who he was. It was a small gesture, but it spoke volumes about the values that seemed to run deep here. Rico carried my bag, made sure I was safe, and wished me well as I stepped into the city. It was a level of care I hadn't expected, and it left a lasting impression. After months of moving from place to place, where every interaction felt like a transaction, this was something entirely new. It made me pause and reflect on what I'd been missing: genuine human connection. Here, it wasn't about money or what I could offer in return. It was about decency, about treating strangers with respect and kindness, simply because it was the right thing to do. I realized, in that moment, that the Philippines was going to be different from anywhere I'd been before. The people here didn't just welcome you, they embraced you, made you feel seen and valued. Respect and care came first, woven into every interaction, every smile, every gesture. It was a reminder that sometimes the greatest surprises come not from the places you visit, but from the people you meet along the way. I felt truly seen, not as a customer, not as a tourist, but as a guest. The welcome was real, and it was just the beginning of what would become an unforgettable journey. I visited Tondo, Manila's largest slum, with a local NGO. The poverty was overwhelming: shacks, mud, open sewers. But what I found was joy, children laughing, neighbors sharing, community alive. An old woman offered me water and a seat, expecting nothing. During meal service, a boy fed his sister before himself. In scarcity, the instinct was to share. The spirit of kapwa, shared self, was everywhere. I left humbled, my ideas of happiness and success upended. Here, people had little but gave everything. Their resilience and generosity were heroic. They taught me that true wealth is what you give. I traveled to the rice terraces of Banaue, ancient, breathtaking. My guide, Ben, was deeply connected to the land. A typhoon hit, the village lost power, but the family stayed calm. They lit candles, cooked, told stories. Resilience was their way of life. The next day, the community cleared debris together, unbroken. In the Visayas, I met a fisherman who rebuilt after a typhoon. The storm took everything but not our spirit, he said. Everywhere I saw hope, faith, and joy in the present. In a coastal town, people gathered around a TV, cheering together. They had little but created their own happiness. Strength wasn't avoiding hardship, it was facing it, helping others, and smiling through it all. The Filipino spirit was unbreakable. Here, resilience was a celebration, not a burden. I came to Asia searching for culture, marvels, and unforgettable food, and I found all of it in abundance. The colors, the flavors, the energy of the streets, it was everything I'd hoped for and more. Every corner offered something new, from the sizzle of street food to the quiet reverence of ancient temples. But it was the Philippines that truly captured my soul, in ways I never expected. There was something magnetic about this place, something that went far beyond the surface. It wasn't just about the famous beaches or the rich history, though those are beautiful. What struck me most was the people, their warmth, their openness, their genuine smiles that welcomed me like family. Here, I discovered a different kind of wealth, a wealth of heart and humanity that can't be measured in money or possessions. It's a richness that comes from connection, from laughter, from shared meals and simple joys. Too often, we see the Philippines through a lens of pity or charity, focusing only on what's lacking. But that's such an incomplete picture. There's so much more here than meets the eye. True wealth isn't found in GDP statistics or towering skyscrapers. It's found in kindness, honesty, and resilience. It's in the woman in Tondo who greets strangers with a smile, the taxi driver who goes out of his way to help, the fisherman who rebuilds after every storm. These are the real treasures of the Philippines, the laughter that echoes through humble homes, the faith that endures through hardship, and the spirit of bayanihan, neighbors coming together to help one another. These are priceless gifts. They're reminders that community and compassion matter more than material things. My journey through Asia was filled with incredible sights and experiences, but it was the Philippines that transformed me on a deeper level. It changed the way I see the world, and the way I define success. In the quiet moments, watching the sunrise over the islands or walking through rural villages, I felt my cynicism melt away. I realized that true success isn't about what you own, but about the connections you make and the lives you touch. The most valuable currency here is human kindness. It's the willingness to share, to help, to lift each other up, even when times are tough. The Philippines is chaotic, imperfect, and sometimes overwhelming. But its people shine with a light that hardship can't extinguish. Their hope, their generosity, and their joy are contagious. I left a piece of my heart in the Philippines, and I took home a renewed faith in humanity, a deeper understanding of what it means to be truly wealthy, and a promise to carry that spirit of kindness wherever I go.